Atreus, where are you?
For over a decade, the game God of War has remained a fan favorite among billions of gamers worldwide. Right from the early gaming days of Sega and PlayStation to the era of computer games, and even now in the era of mobile games, God of War has stood the test of time. The epic battles, breathtaking scenes, and the general allure of the demigod Kratos gives gamers an experience no other game has quite been able to recreate. But then there's something dark about this game that many players do not recognize. Something malicious and utterly mind-boggling. You see, according to certain conspiracies, God of War isn't just a game. It's a demonic game that leaves a shadow of darkness in the hearts of its players. But hey, before we go into all that, let's take a recap first and see what this game is all about, shall we? God of War follows the story of Kratos, a Spartan who once believed in gods like Olympus, Zeus, and so on until the day his family was killed.
I'm sorry I couldn't take the shot.
I did not wish you to.
I keep hoping she'll let it go. You saved her life.
I killed her son. There is no letting that go.
Yeah.
He was actually a servant of Ares, the god of war, and tragically, he was tricked by his master to murder his own family in cold blood. From then on, Kratos swore a war against the gods. He began his journey to killing them one at a time, starting with Ares. But you see, the more Kratos killed, he gained certain powers and artifacts that made him stronger. With time, he became so strong that he could challenge even mighty Greek gods like Zeus. And eventually, his mighty exploits earned him the name God of War. However, the thing is, this game is actually a slow, steady mental conditioner that slowly takes away the perception of God from the player.
What was that?
Your ball!
It distorts your belief and mentality of who God is or what he is. You no longer see or perceive God as some mighty creator. Rather, you begin to see him as a cheap deity that can be killed or rebelled against by a man like Kratos. The game also gives viewers a false impression that a man can become a god and rebel against his creator. It's all a demonic play, and the more the player soaks himself into the game, the more he begins to imbibe the spirits and character of rebellion, anger, hot temper, violence, and destruction. These are all manifestations of demonic tendencies. Tendencies that only enter into players when they play this game. But hey, hold on, there's more. What if I told you that some of the beasts that Kratos battles in this game are actually real? What if I told you they are actually replicas of real-life demons and fallen angels? Doubt me? Well, I hope you don't see one in your dreams. Anyways, farewell, my friend. Stay tuned for another eye-opening video on this mystery channel.
The dark side of Pokemon. New games have always been a fun way to pass time or relieve stress, and Pokemon is no different. However, just as you'll find out in this video, there's something dark and horrifying about this game, such that anyone who plays it is literally risking their life unknowingly. The game Pokemon was one of the first 20th century games to ever gain popularity worldwide. It first burst into the global stage in 1996 and still remained a fan favorite even a decade after its release. In the game, players explore the world of Pokemon, encountering various Pokemon species which they battle and train to become the ultimate Pokemon master. Back then, despite poor graphic technology, the game was still overly fun thanks to its simple gameplay that both kids and young adults could enjoy. But there was one stage in the game that didn't just scare the hell out of players, but also led them to commit suicide: Lavender Town. The Lavender Town was a stage that had something different from others, a scary plot. You see, in the Lavender Town, after making your way through a Pokemon tower, you'd encounter a scary ghost entity which you must defeat. However, the real horror wasn't the ghost, it was the soundtrack. For a game that was made 2 decades ago, the Lavender Plot theme song still scares people till today. Back then, it was a nightmare. For some reason, kids would always cry after getting to this stage in the Pokemon game, and parents couldn't tell why. It wasn't until much later that they realized that there was something about the background music that just didn't sound right. Here's what it sounded like. Creepy, right? Just so you know, the YouTube video for this song has over 10 million views. This is crazy compared to the low views other Pokemon theme songs have. People in the comments admit that the music scared the hell out of them when they were kids, and that it still does, even now. But that's not the weirdest part. Apparently, in the first copies of the game, which was released in Japan, this particular stage featured a high-pitched sound that only kids could hear. The side effects were similar, regardless of factors like race or gender: headaches, discomfort, and fright. Slowly, parents began to report the oddity, and the condition was renamed the Lavender Syndrome. But just when everyone thought they had gotten to the bottom of the mystery, a decade later, reports began to surface about how this eerie music had drove over 100 kids to commit suicide. According to the rumors, back in February 1996, shortly after the game release, around 200 kids committed suicide in Japan. These children had all played the game up to the Lavender Town, only to begin suffering severe afflictions. Some cried of deafening headaches, others developed strange fear and near insanity. And then they were those who were driven to hang themselves or jump to their deaths. Till this day, no one has been able to confirm if the Lavender Town suicides were actually real or not. But none can deny that there's truly something dark about the theme song. And it's not just the theme song either. Since then, Pokemon has evolved to be more graphical and colorful, but still there are certain horrifying elements like the dark and scary Pokemon animations seen in newer models since then. It's like for some reason, it's not just a children's game, but a game meant to scare children. Ever since the Lavender Town mystery, many parents stopped their kids from playing Pokemon. But then, who knows how many more devilish, suicidal soundtracks have been imbibed into the game since then? And what's to say Pokemon itself isn't manufactured in the depths of hell? Anyways, share your thoughts on this in the comment section. Bye for now.